In the intricate world of the human mind and body, there exist phenomena that defy ordinary understanding, strange syndromes that push the boundaries of medical and psychological knowledge. These syndromes, rare and mysterious, offer us a glimpse into the complex interplay between the brain, body, and the environments we inhabit. In this video, we will explore some of these strange syndromes, using real-life stories and examples to bring depth and detail to our journey. Our aim is to understand these conditions in a way that is both insightful and easy to grasp, while ensuring a seamless narrative flow that keeps you engaged from start to finish. One such intriguing syndrome is Capgras syndrome, a condition where an individual believes that a close friend, family member, or even a pet has been replaced by an identical imposter. This delusion, often linked to brain injury or psychiatric disorders like schizophrenia, provides a window into the mind's complex mechanisms for recognizing and feeling familiar with others. Consider the story of a woman who, after a car accident that caused a head injury, became convinced that her husband was no longer her real husband, but an identical stranger. Despite recognizing his physical features, she felt emotionally disconnected, leading her to believe he had been replaced. This disconnect is thought to result from a disruption in the pathways that link facial recognition to emotional response. While she could still identify her husband's face, the lack of emotional connection led her to the unsettling belief that he was an imposter. Another fascinating condition is Alice in Wonderland syndrome, AIWS, named after Lewis Carroll's famous novel. This syndrome distorts perception, causing individuals to see objects as much smaller or larger than they are, or perceive time to move more quickly or slowly. It's often associated with migraines, epilepsy, or viral infections. Imagine a young boy who describes seeing his parents shrink to the size of dolls, or objects in his room expanding to fill the entire space. For him, this experience was both frightening and surreal, blurring the lines between reality and illusion. AIWS highlights the brain's extraordinary role in shaping our perceptions, reminding us that what we see is a carefully constructed interpretation of the world around us. Foreign accent syndrome, FAS, is another condition that captivates both scientists and the public alike. Individuals with FAS suddenly begin speaking in a foreign accent, often after a stroke or head injury, despite never having been exposed to the accent or language in question. Take the case of a woman from Texas who, after suffering a stroke, began speaking with a British accent. Although she had never lived in the UK or had significant exposure to British English, her speech patterns and intonations changed drastically. FAS is thought to result from damage to specific areas of the brain responsible for language production, causing subtle changes in speech that mimic foreign accents. Next, we have Cotard's delusion, a rare but severe condition where individuals believe they are dead, do not exist, or have lost their internal organs. This nihilistic delusion often accompanies severe depression or psychosis. Consider a man who, after losing his job and experiencing a downward spiral into depression, began insisting that he had no internal organs and was merely a shell of a person. Despite medical evidence to the contrary, he could not be convinced otherwise. This delusion illustrates the extreme ways in which the brain can distort reality under the weight of psychological distress. Another peculiar syndrome is synesthesia, a condition where the stimulation of one sensory pathway leads to automatic, involuntary experiences in a second sensory pathway. People with synesthesia might see sounds, taste words, or feel colors. A famous example is the Russian writer Vladimir Nabokov, who described seeing letters in specific colors, a form of synesthesia known as grapheme color synesthesia. For Nabokov, the letter A was a warm yellow, B was blue, and so on. This blending of the senses offers a unique perspective on how individual brains can create highly personalized experiences of the world, vastly different from the norm. Exploding head syndrome is another curious condition where individuals hear loud, sudden noises, like a bomb exploding or a gunshot, just as they are falling asleep or waking up. These noises are not real and have no external source, but they can be startling and distressing. Imagine a man who, every time he tries to sleep, is jolted awake by the sound of a massive crash, only to find that everything is silent around him. Though harmless in the long run, the fear and confusion caused by this syndrome can lead to anxiety and sleep deprivation. Alien hand syndrome, AHS, is a neurological condition where one hand seems to act on its own, without the person's conscious control. This can occur after brain surgery, stroke, or infection, particularly when the brain's two hemispheres can no longer communicate effectively. A famous case involved a man who, after surgery to control his epilepsy, found that his left hand would unbutton his shirt while his right hand tried to button it up, as if the two hands were in conflict. This syndrome underscores the brain's complex organization and the autonomous capabilities of its various parts when communication breaks down. Lastly, we have Stendhal syndrome, which causes individuals to become overwhelmed when exposed to art. People with this condition may experience rapid heartbeat, dizziness, fainting, confusion, or even hallucinations in the presence of art they perceive as exceptionally beautiful. This was named after the French writer Stendhal, who described feeling overwhelmed by the art he saw during a visit to Florence. For someone with this syndrome, standing before a masterpiece by Michelangelo or Botticelli could trigger an intense and overwhelming emotional response, blurring the line between admiration and a psychological breakdown. These syndromes, though rare and strange, provide invaluable insights into the human mind's functioning and its capacity for both wonder and disarray. Through their stories, we gain a deeper understanding of how our brains shape our reality and what happens when this intricate process goes awry. In every case, these conditions challenge our perception of normality, revealing the extraordinary range of human experience. By exploring these syndromes, we not only learn more about the mind, but also about the resilience and adaptability of those who live with such conditions every day.